Hello and welcome to the channel Wildlife Around Us. I hope every one of you are in good health. In our last video, we talked in details about the advantages of photographing in RAW mode over JPEG in terms of editing. We hope you have seen that video, but if you still haven't, I will put the link of that session in the description and at the end of this video, please go and check it out. So today we will talk about some more advantages of photographing in RAW mode over JPEG and how you can accurately correct an image photographed in wrong white balance. We will also talk about some instances where shooting in JPEG mode is actually recommended over RAW mode. As usual, Debargo will be hosting the post-processing sessions. So without any further ado, let's get started.
Now let's see if we can correct an image which is totally dark. First we will see the raw image. We'll simply drag and drop the image into Photoshop. We will increase the exposure to the upper limit. We will also increase the shadows to the upper limit. Select Open. Okay, now let's edit the JPEG image. We'll simply drag and drop the image into Photoshop and we'll correct the exposure. Select Filter, select Camera Raw Filter, and we'll do exactly the same thing that we have done in the raw image. We will increase the exposure to the upper limit. We will increase the shadows to the upper limit. Select OK. Now let's compare both the images. You can see in the shadow area of the JPEG image there is no details, and in the raw image there are some details on the leaves. It's better to shoot image in raw format because of these advantages. You can retain the shadow details, you can also gain back the highlight details, and the noise compression is far more better than a JPEG image. Now let's see if we can correct the white balance of an image which has been shot on both RAW and JPEG format wrongly. Let's first see this image. This image have a blue cast to it or blue temperature to it. Let's correct the image. We'll simply drag the slider of the temperature towards the warm side and we'll keep it here to our desired number, that is 5600 Kelvin. You can see the image has been corrected to the perfectly toned white balance. Select Open Image. And the image will open in Photoshop. Now let's try to correct the same image which is of JPEG format. Simply drag and drop the image into Photoshop. Select Filter, select Camera Raw Filter. Now we will try to correct the white balance of an image which is of JPEG format and shot in a wrong white balance, that is to a bluish cast. We will increase the temperature so that we can get an accurate measurement of the white balance. Select OK. Now let's compare both the image. The raw image looks much more pleasing than the JPEG image. The actual colors of the flowers and the leaves are retained, but in the JPEG image it's very difficult to retain back the same color details as in the raw image. We will do the same thing with the image which have got a yellowish tint to it, that is a higher value of white balance. Now you can see the image has got a higher value of the white balance, that is the image has got a warmer tone. Let's correct the image. We will move the sliders towards the left side where the temperature is much cooler. You can see that the image is now perfectly corrected. The white balance has been retained back. The flower and the leaves and all the background have got the accurate color. Open image. Now we will do the same correction to the JPEG image that we have done to the raw file. Let's drag and drop the image into Photoshop. Select Filter, Select camera raw. Correct the image in the same way that you have done in the raw file. We will decrease the temperature. Select OK. Let's compare both the images side by side. On the left we have the raw file corrected, and on the right side we have the JPEG image corrected. It's very clear that the raw file looks much more pleasing to the eyes than the JPEG file. The color of the flower and the leaves are much more accurate in the raw image than that of the JPEG image. You can see that there has been a loss in details also. So it's better to shoot in RAW than that of a JPEG image.
Okay, so I think you have understand how shooting in RAW mode helps you in the basic editing process and getting the final result as per your choice. Or in other words, how shooting in RAW mode gives you a huge flexibility when editing in Photoshop. But do we always need to shoot in RAW? Well, actually there are some instances where it is better not to shoot in RAW, and it is also advisable to convert into the JPEG format and photograph in JPEG format. What are those instances? I will show you. Number one, when editing is not the priority. You can clearly see that the RAW and the JPEG version basically matters when we edit a photograph, when we take it from the camera and put it in Photoshop or Lightroom or whatever editing software you use. But when the editing is not your priority, then you can obviously shoot in JPEG format. Number two, when you have to instantly deliver the photograph to your client or to your friend or relative or whoever, and you do not have any time to edit your photographs. Number three, this is a very important point. While shooting in burst mode, sometimes to capture the moment we shoot in burst mode, and then if you shoot in RAW format, your camera may take some time to capture and process that RAW file and store it in the memory card. So in that situations, it is better to shoot in JPEG because the camera takes much lesser time to process a JPEG image and store it into the memory card. And finally, number four, if by chance or unfortunately your camera memory card do not have much space and you have a whole lot of time to photograph and you don't want to miss the photographs, then you have to shoot in JPEG because JPEG file formats take up very less space as compared to the RAW format, and you do not have any extra memory card also with you. So then at those times it is okay to shoot in the JPEG format, but also it is always advisable to carry extra memory cards when you are in field. So these are some situations where you may prefer shoot in the JPEG format, but it is always advisable and recommended to shoot in the RAW format because of its better editing capabilities. So this is all about today. I hope you have enjoyed today's session and learned something about what are the different advantages of using RAW over JPEG and vice versa. And you have also seen how you have a better flexibility or a huge range of flexibility in editing when you edit a RAW format over a JPEG format. So if you have liked the video, please like and share it. And if you still haven't subscribed the channel, don't worry, you can do it later. So see you next time. Bye for now.